I'd like to do another type of dimensional analysis problem in this one. These are somewhat confusing for students. We want to convert some squared units or maybe some cubed units. For example, we might have an area or a volume, and area units are squared, so we might have something like 2.7 square meters. And I want to convert that to, I want to know how many square centimeters that is. So this is like converting an area. And on the surface, if you understand dimensional analysis, it might not seem that hard, but there is a slight little trick that you have to remember to do with this. So we would start the dimensional analysis problem really exactly the same way. We'd write down the given. And the given is 2.7 square meters. And we'd go ahead and draw a line, and then we'd put some lines there for our conversion factors. And we do the kind of same way. We do not want the units that are on the top right now. We do not want square meters. We would like square centimeters. So I'm going to put square meters on the bottom, and I'm going to put square centimeters on the top. Now, here's where the tricky part comes in. Most of you have a pretty good understanding that in 1 meter there is 100 centimeters, and that is true. Now the problem with this is we can't just do it like that, because these units weren't actually meters and centimeters, were they? They're meters squared and centimeters squared. So what I have to do is actually, and I'm going to do it out here a little bit different to show you. Let's say we have 1 square meter. So that would be a square, and it would be 1 meter by 1 meter, right? So 1 times 1, this would be 1 square meter, 1 meter squared. Okay? Now, so what I have here right now in this conversion factor, if I have 1 square meter is 100 centimeters squared, I want to show why that's not right. Because although in 1 meter there's 100 centimeters, if I wanted to find out what is this area here in square centimeters, I would need to do what to both of these sides? I would have to convert them both to centimeters. So instead of saying this side is 1 meter, I'd say it's 100 centimeters. Instead of saying this side's 1 meter, I'd say it's 100 centimeters. And then to find out the area of this in centimeters squared, I would, of course, multiply 100 by 100, or 100 squared. So the key is, when you're converting squared or cubic units things, I can go ahead and write the units down the way I wrote them here, meters squared and centimeters squared. Meter squared, centimeter squared. I can go ahead and put in the numbers. 1 meter is 100 centimeters. But what you need to do in the end, and hopefully you can remember this little drawing over here, is you need to actually square that number. So in 1 square meter, there is 100 times 100 square centimeters. So in 1 square meter, there's 100 squared centimeters squared. This is the only trick you need to remember whenever you're converting squared or cubic units. So when I can put in my numbers, I can put 1 meter is 100 centimeters, but I got to remember I need to square that 100. So it would be 2.7 times 100 times 100, and I would get, for my answer, 27,000 square centimeters would be my final answer. So all you have to do to remember on this is you need to actually square that unit if you're doing areas. If you're doing volumes, you're going to have to trip or quadruple or cube it. You're going to have to cube the unit. Let's go ahead and do one of those instead. So that's how you convert your square units. Let's convert a cubic unit. Let's go to the next one here and do another problem. Let's take 3649 cubic inches. So this is a volume, cubic inches. And I want to know how many cubic meters that would be. Okay, so I write down my given. 3649 cubic inches And I go ahead and draw my line. Draw my conversion factor places, like always. I do not want inches cubed on the top, so I put it on the bottom, inches cubed. I want meters cubed on the top, but I don't know a conversion between inches and meters yet. I do know that there's, I do know what it is to centimeters, so I could put centimeters cubed. I can't just put the centimeters. I'm in volume units, so I need to stay in volume units. So if you remember from our conversion factors, in 1 inch, there is 2.54 centimeters. Now, that's 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. These units are in inches cubed and centimeters cubed. So instead of saying 1 cubic inch is 2.54 cubic centimeters, what do I have to do with this 2.54? Well, I have to do what I did with the units. I got to cube it. And if you think about that, I mean, if you think about, let's make a cubic inch. Here's a cube, and we'll say it's 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch. And if I multiply all those together, I get 1 cubic. It's ugly. 1 cubic inch. But if I want to convert it to cubic centimeters, I would convert each of these sides, 1, 1, and 1, to 2.54, 2.54, and 2.54. And I'd multiply them all together, and it would be 2.54 cubed centimeters cubed. So when I'm doing cubic conversions, I need to make sure I cube that particular number. So my inches cubed cancel out, and now I'm in centimeters cubed. And so I can go on. I can put centimeters cubed on the bottom. I don't want that. I want meters cubed on the top. And what are my numbers? Well, there are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. But these are cubic units, right? And so I need to cube the number. You could think about cubing the ones and stuff too, but that's kind of irrelevant. So my centimeters cubed would cancel off, and I would take 3649 times 2.54 times 2.54 times 2.54, and then I would divide it by 100, divide by 100, and then divide by 100 again. And I would get an answer of 0.0598 cubic meters. And I'd have to check my sig figs on this. This is what the calculator says. My given has 4. So usually I would have to have 4 in my answer. But I need to look see if there's any bridges. This right here is a metric definition, so I don't have to worry about that one. But this one is a bridge. This is English to metric, and there's 3 sig figs in there. So I need to have, instead of 4, I need to have 3 sig figs in my answer, which this actually has, 0.0598. Those 3 are significant. So that would be my answer, 0.0598 cubic meters. So when you're converting squared or areas or volumes, it's important to remember that you need to cube those numbers or square those numbers depending on which one you're doing. Hope that makes sense. That can be very tricky for a lot of students.